How's everyone doing? Doing good? It's good to be back on campus. Okay, welcome to our Entrepreneur Leadership Series. I'm Mike Glauser. I'm the Executive Director of Entrepreneurship Programs for Utah State University. I've been here 10 years, and so this is our 10th anniversary for this leadership series, and we honestly believe that it will be the best class that you will ever take. And we've worked hard to make it that way. It'll not only be the best one-hour credit class, pass-fail, which is cool, right? But we think it'll be the best class you'll ever take. And I'll tell you why. Number one is after 10 years, we've invited back the very best speakers that we've ever had. So the speakers that have gotten the best reviews from students are all coming back, plus a couple of new ones that you're going to absolutely love. But another reason that's important is these skills are going to be critical to you in your career. You're going to need the skills of entrepreneurship no matter what you do. You might start a business, you might work for a corporation, you might work for a nonprofit or a school or a church or the government. These skills are relevant to any kind of human organization. So let's start with a very important question. What would you do if you knew that half the jobs in the world will be gone by 2034? That's the prediction. So there's 700 professions in the world. Half of those will be gone by 2034. What would you do to prepare for that? So I want a few brave volunteers to stand up and tell us, what would you do to prepare for that, okay? And we're not going to pass the microphone around due to COVID, but shout out your answer, and then I'll repeat it so the people online watching can hear what you say, okay? So what are you going to do to prepare? Yes, brave young man. What's your name?
John.
Okay, John? I didn't pay him to say that, by the way. Okay, great answer. Okay, what else? What else are you going to do? Okay, gentleman in the back. Your name? Okay. Okay, so be more diverse in your skill set. Develop a broader range of skills. Okay, that was from Elijah. And the first comment was to learn how to create your own job. Let's do one more. What else? What are you going to do if you don't know which jobs are going away, but you know half of them are going to be gone? What are you going to do? Let's have one more. Being an entrepreneur takes courage, so you might as well start learning in this class. Raise your hand and don't be shy. Tell us what you think. Okay, yeah. Get one of them that's not going away. Okay. You must be majoring in engineering or something, right? No? Okay. So one of the things that I love about the Huntsman School, I came here for 3 years to help build the Entrepreneurship Center, and I'm starting my 11th year. And I keep coming back because I absolutely love the Huntsman School. And the reason I love it is we are 100% student-focused. You're not going to be taught by a TA or an instructor. You're going to be taught in a little bit smaller class, typically by an actual professor that is a full-time faculty member. And sure, we publish, we write books, we write articles, but if we're not great in the classroom, you can't survive here in the Huntsman School. And so I keep coming back because we love working with you, the students, and we really work hard to give you a great experience. So a few years ago, I can get the screen to change. Andy and I jumped in a van, and we toured the entire country from California to New York, West Coast to the East Coast. We interviewed professors, the most prominent professors at Harvard, at MIT, and Stanford. We interviewed researchers. We interviewed trends analysts. And we said, what is work going to look like? How should we best prepare our students? And this is a very brief video of what we heard. Whoops. You want to go ahead and start it there, Jaron, if you can.
The future of work as a result of technology is going to be the biggest change in the 21st century as industrialization changed the world centuries ago. We're at a fundamental shift right now.
In a world driven by incredibly rapid and accelerating change, this era of entrepreneurship and this era in the economy in general is unprecedented.
What technology has been good at for a few decades now is replacing routine work.
This could lead to fundamental changes in reality, how they work.
It's going to be so hugely disruptive.
It's affecting workers and jobs and wages in ways that we have not seen before.
Imagine what that does to the trucking industry.
Everyone's talking about the driverless car.
When all the trucks drive themselves, they can drive 24 hours a day.
Within 10 years, we're not going to be allowed to drive because it's just going to be deemed unsafe.
And if you breathe on it, it'll tell you whether you have lung cancer or not.
No occupation is off limits.
Robots are doing more accurate surgeries than the surgeons.
The bank teller,
The payroll clerk.
We don't need you anymore.
I honestly believe I am going to live to see a science fiction economy where our mines, our factories, warehouses, our farms, highways are staffed almost exclusively by machines. We're just going to automate the work.
Anybody who takes charge of their own economic destiny, regardless of the scale, for me is an entrepreneur.
We literally started by selling Ziploc bags of this powdered drink mix that we made in a hardware store.
I was pretty sick of doing what I was doing.
I just kept feeling like, man, like this can't be my life. Like I'm too creative for this.
I remember thinking, wouldn't it be just the greatest thing ever if we could actually get paid doing this?
I ordered 5,000 skirts and I didn't know how to build a business.
How do you come up with a sample of something that's never been done before?
I have to create my own destiny.
Taking that bold step is what 3X'd my company.
I do this because this is my dream.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
Stop settling for a mediocre job.
Stop being such a wuss.
You know, if ever there was a reason to be self-employed,
Changed my whole life.
I'm not going back to work. I'm doing something on my own.
Put on your big boy pants and get to freaking work.
So those are just a few of the people we interviewed, and here are just a couple of examples of things you've probably seen each day, things that are happening right before our very eyes. Accountants are being replaced by software, e-commerce, self-checkout kiosks, we don't need clerks any longer. Factories are all being run by robots. Anything that can be manufactured is being made now by a robot. We have the driverless cars. In a couple of years, there'll be 10 million of those on the road that are being approved state by state right now. Delivery drones are delivering everything from medicine to goods from Amazon and so on. So our world is changing dramatically, but it's going to be really exciting. It's making our world more awesome. But at the same time, we need a new skill set. Everyone needs a new skill set. So here's just a couple of examples. This Amazon Go store on the left has no employees. So every product is on a pressure-sensitized pad. You go in and it registers on your phone that you're starting to shop, and if you take it off that pad, it puts it on your phone. If you put it on the pad, it takes it off your phone. And when you exit, it actually... When you exit, it charges your card. That simple. Amazon is going to build 2,000 of these stores. Over here we have Domino's has been delivering pizza. I like to be out with you, but they tell me I have to be on the stage here. In New Zealand and Australia and now in Europe by drones. So you order on your phone and it says delivery, pickup, or drone, and the drone comes and it hovers over your house. It drops it on your front sidewalk. It's on a pressure-sensitized cable. The pizza's dropped. You have nice, warm, hot pizza. Amazon was just now approved to build 24 launch pads, 24 small airports around America, and they'll be able to deliver by drone any package up to 40 pounds. So you'll see that next year. And of course, smart cars we've talked about. Robots are making automobiles, they're making pharmaceuticals. This machine on the left is called the Davinci Robot, and that robot actually did surgery on me last year. I had a hernia surgery, and the Davinci did the surgery, and he was awesome. He was better than the doctor. Security is now using robots and all kinds of technology. This is one of the strangest. In China, they're building humanoids now. They can build a robot that looks exactly like you. The skin, the hair, it feels like a real person. They're imbuing about 50 to 60,000 chunks of information in these robots So they can function like a human. They can tell jokes. They can understand emotions. And there are building hotels in China that are using, China and Japan that are using these. There's some hotels that don't have any employees. So the robot will check you in. It'll deliver room service to you. It'll solve problems for you. This is happening now, and it's happening very fast. So this is the research actually shows that this is kind of interesting, that corporations are far more efficient now because they're using technology. The average revenue per employee has gone up 20% in the last few years because we don't need employees as we add these machines. 47% of these occupations, this was a study done at Oxford University, they're looking at the curve right now, and they're saying that these will all be gone. Half of these will be gone. 4 out of 5 adults, this is an Associated Press study, they're predicting that if you take the corporate route, you'll have 4 to 5 periods of unemployment, lengthy employments in your career, and we're basically moving into what we're calling the gig economy, where you need a set of skills, you need to solve problems for people, for organizations, and you're going to be hired more on a short-term or project basis. Here's the good news. And I'll admit right up front, at the center of entrepreneurship, we have a strong bias, and that bias is that we believe every single person sitting in this room tonight could build a small business. Every one of you. We can almost guarantee that. And here are the reasons why it's easier. People, because of this high-tech world we live in, people want high touch. They want to go work with small businesses. They want to know the baker. They want to know the butcher. They want to know the local grocery store owner or the bookstore owner. They want to have a community. Technology is available for anyone at very cheap prices. The company that I own and operate, it's an online training company. We have about 2,000 customers outside of the United States, which we couldn't have had just a few years ago. And so it's easy to build small businesses. And this is really fascinating that small businesses are taking over the world. There was some predictions that large corporations would take over and small businesses would forever exist on the sidelines of the economy. But we have 28 small businesses versus 18,000 large companies. And 22 million of those are single solopreneurs. They're people just like you and me that have figured out how to build a small business, generate some revenue and some cash flow, and provide for themselves. And this is really fascinating. The number of publicly traded companies has dropped to half of what it was 20 years ago. So small businesses are thriving. This doesn't like me for some reason. Okay, let's go back. So most of us work for small businesses, 44%, far more than nonprofits or government, and 70 to 80% of all the new jobs come from these new small startup businesses, and about 90% of all the new disruptive technology comes from small businesses, okay? So knowing how to start and build something and create some revenue for yourself is an awesome skill set, whether you do it or not. You might not ever do it, but to know how to do that, you're going to be far more valuable to a corporation if you go that route. This is fascinating as well. So if you add up those two numbers, about 85% of the people that work for corporate America don't like what they're doing. They don't really enjoy getting up in the morning. They don't like what they're doing. They're looking at their watch for 5 o'clock to come, and then they go for things that are enjoyable after work. Entrepreneurs are the happiest and most satisfied people in our workforce. So here's the all-important question. It's not how do I find a job, it's how do I create a job for myself. And that's what we teach you here in this class and what we teach you in the Center for Entrepreneurship. Let me ask you another question. What if we went out and interviewed 1,000 entrepreneurs and we collected their stories from the minute they conceived their business idea up to the time that they were successful and had cash flow, revenue, and profits? So we're going to interview these 1,000 people. Do you think we would hear any common trends that are linked to successful businesses that aren't linked to businesses that fail? Or do you think the industries and jobs are so different that we really wouldn't see any common trends? What do you think? Are there common practices that we can learn and understand and put into practice? What do you think? How many of you think that there's nothing in common, they would all be different? Raise your hand. Wow. Okay, how many of you think there are some common practices? Okay, very good. So this is exactly what I've done during my career. I have interviewed nearly 1,000 entrepreneurs, and I've collected their oral histories. So I go and say, tell me about the time you first had your business idea and tell the entire story up to today. And I've recorded all of those on high-definition video. We have hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs and thousands of hours of footage. And we've gone through all that footage, and we use that content to write books, to write articles, to create our curriculum here at Utah State University. And this is my most recent book, and I want to tell you about some of these practices that we hear in almost every single story. And the reason I'm telling you this is when you hear these speakers, I want you to watch for these things, okay? I want you to watch and just go check, check, check. Yeah, they did that, they did that, they did that. You'll hear these in almost every story that you hear. So let's start with the first one. The best book I've ever read on the power of purpose is written by Viktor Frankl. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. Have any of you read the book, Man's Search for Meaning? Okay, we have 3 or 4 of you. So you know Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist living in Vienna in the 40s, and he was writing a book about a new form of therapy he wanted to introduce to the community. And he was captured by a group of Nazi soldiers and taken to a concentration camp. Now, being a psychiatrist, he was really interested in who survived and who did not survive, who lived and who died. And his first thought was that the people that live are going to be the biggest and strongest physically. And the people that die are going to be those that are frail and small. He did not find that. What he found is that the people that lived had a purpose for staying alive. They found meaning in their suffering. They said, when I get out of here, I'm going to write a book and expose this atrocity. When I get out of here, I'm going to become a teacher, and I'm going to teach the youth how to be kind and decent people and to stand up to these kinds of atrocities. When I get out, I'm going to go find my husband or my wife or my kids, and I'm going to be the best and most decent person, the best father, the best mother. And people that had that purpose, something to live for, lived. And people that didn't died. And one of the fascinating findings was that about half of the people in these camps died in January. So if you look at the death rates throughout the year, about half of them died in January. Why do you think that's the case? Just someone that's brave? What do you think? Yeah, go ahead, please. Okay. For those of you listening elsewhere, he says it's colder in January. Good point, it is. Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's exactly what he concluded, is that they were saying, this is such an awful experience. I can't take it anymore. If we're not out by the end of the year, I'm done for. And if they had that mindset, they didn't live, they died. So a powerful purpose can even help you stay alive. It's kind of interesting. So purpose leads to passion. Passion leads to perseverance or tenacity. And if you don't have this, you're not going to be successful. So this is one of the entrepreneurs Andy and I interviewed on our really cool road trip with our cameras. And her name's Ngozi Opara. And she worked her way through college as a beautician. She loved working on hair. She liked coloring it. She liked cutting it. She liked styling it. She was like a therapist. It was her dream come true to just work with women and their hair. And when she got her degree, she took a job with a hedge fund in Washington, D.C., and she absolutely hated her job. She kept saying, I'm too creative for this. I don't want to just help manage other people's money. I want to do something to help people. So she remembered that African American women had a really hard time finding wigs and hair extensions that were the right color, the right texture, the right degree of curl, and she thought, that's the problem that I'm going to solve. She got very excited about going back to her dream job, but now she's going to own the business. So she took a lot of hair samples from her mom and her sisters and her friends, and she made some prototype wigs, And then she found a manufacturer in the US that made them, and she put them online, and she sold about 300 immediately. And she thought, this is just too easy. This is awesome. This is my dream. And the women loved the wigs, and they told all their friends about them. But after 3 weeks, they all started falling apart. So they came out of the frame that they were in. The texture didn't hold up. And she had 300 angry women saying, we want our money back or we want a new product. She said to them, she said, if you'll give me a chance, I'm going to fix this problem. I am going to either give you your money back or I'm going to give you a new product, and it'll be a product that is spectacular. So please be patient with me. She loved this idea so much that she didn't give up. What she did is she went to China and she talked a wig-making factory into hiring her as a laborer to stand on the line and make wigs for 6 months. She lived with the laborers in their dormitories and she made wigs, and she figured it out. Then she hired about 20 people in China to work for her, came back, hired another half dozen in the US, and jumped back into business, and she made good on her promise to every one of those women that bought that initial wig. Her company today is absolutely killing it. It's called Heat Free Hair. Look at her website. She's got remarkable products. So you have to have a purpose that is more than just making money. In all of these samples that we've collected of entrepreneurs, hundreds of them, about 3% of them say my primary purpose in starting this business was to make money. It's 3 out of 100. And if you look at those that fail, about half of them say, I did this because I want to make a lot of money. But if you were in Ghazi and you wanted to make a lot of money and your product failed, why would you keep going? You quit if you don't have this strong driving purpose. So in my own life, I wasn't very smart when I was your age. I went straight through school, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. I didn't take any breaks. I didn't go work. And I started teaching at the University of North Carolina, and I was still in my 20s. And when I walked into my first class, it was an executive MBA program, and I was the youngest kid in the class by about 20 years. And I said, you know what, this isn't going to work. It's not working. If I'm going to be a thought leader in business, I got to leave the safe harbor of academics, and I've got to go build something that's really cool, that's the envy of the industry. And then I can come back and feel like, you know, I now have credibility. I'm now worthy to teach business at a university. My wife at the same time got a degree in community health education and nutrition, and she was real excited to start a business. So we said, okay, what is our purpose? What are we going to do? She wanted to create a product line of desserts that had no fat in them, that tasted as good as your best ice creams, that tasted like Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but they had no fat in them. And I wanted to build a business that was the best in that niche, in that industry. And that's what drove us. We got up every morning excited. We worked hard. We grew that business. We created a product line of 30 frozen dessert products that had no fat in them whatsoever. First, people wouldn't eat them. They'd go, what is this? And we'd go, well, it's a yogurt type product. And they'd go, oh, I hate yogurt. And we'd say, but it's the ice cream lovers yogurt. We had to talk them into eating it. And before long, we had 80 retail stores and 2,000 wholesale customers. And we had 3 people knock on our door and say, we want to buy this company from you. And I would say, hey, you know, it's not for sale. It's kind of just a cool experiment. We're not selling it. And eventually, one of the partners that made the offer was a really nice merger for us, so we sold that company. But if, you know, I was scared to death. My purpose was I can't fail. I'm a professor. If I fail and I go back to university, oh, there's a guy that failed in business. He's teaching business. And so I wanted to build a great company, and my wife really wanted to introduce a great health product to the marketplace that would be very low in calories and have no fat in it. And so we were just so excited, and that was such a great experience for us as a couple. But if we hadn't had those underlying purposes, mine and hers, we would have quit long ago because it's just too hard. So the next one is you have to launch an opportunity, not an idea. There's a huge difference between an idea and a business opportunity. An idea is something that you think up maybe in the shower, or while you're driving the car, while you're watching TV, sitting at a soccer game. It comes to you and you think, oh, this is a good idea. But a true business opportunity has these 5 characteristics. And that's why I say every one of you here could build a successful business, because if you can find something that does these 5 things, it's going to work. The failure rate for new businesses is 50%, so half of new businesses fail. If you follow these practices, you up your odds to 80 to 90%. And so when you come to us, to me or to Andy or to Jaron or any of the entrepreneurship professors, and you say, I've got this idea, we don't ever judge that idea. We don't say, oh, that's a bad idea. We say, well, let's measure it up to the 5 criteria. And if it's not there yet, we say, go back to the drawing board and keep working on those things. And as soon as you get these 5 criteria in place, you can make it over these 5 hurdles, you are going to have a really good chance of building a successful business. Okay? So you have to have firsthand knowledge that customers have a problem. You have to see it. You don't want to do survey research. You have to see it. You have to have people saying this is a problem. You have to have experience with that niche or that industry or that product line, even as a user, or you have to bring in a partner that does. You don't need money, but you do need resources. The idea that you have to have money to start a business is just a myth. It's a bad racket. Don't ever think that. All you need to do is create a prototype service or a product that you can get into the market to see if people buy it. I say make a few, sell a few, learn a lot. Then make a few more, sell a few more, learn a lot more. An imperfect product in the marketplace is far better than a perfect product in the lab or sitting on your shelf. So you just have to get something to test to get out there and see if people buy it. If people tell you they'll buy it before you even make it, that's even better, which we can now do with crowdfunding. You can sell it first and then make it second. And then you have to understand the finances. You have to make more money than the product cost you to make. You have to sell it for a higher price than it makes. It's that simple. Who knows who Sarah Blakely is? Anybody? You're just a little too young for this. Yeah. Okay. She is the founder of Spanx. She is the first self-made female billionaire in America. So she's our hero. She's a hero. And here's her brief story. Now think of those 5 factors, okay? She was in pretty good shape, but every time she'd buy a pair of pantyhose, they're so tight, they just sit above the hips, and they're so tight that even if you're in good shape, they create a little bit of a bulge, and that bothered her really bad. So she talked to her friends and her mom and her sisters, and they all said, yeah, we hate them too. So she went out to try to find some shapewear that maybe came up a little higher, and she couldn't find anything like that anywhere. So she started buying products, cutting them up, sewing them together, inventing, experimenting. She got a product all of her friends tried, her family members tried, and they loved this product. So she kept her full-time job, and she manufactured a small batch, and she sold $1 million of this shapewear to Neiman Marcus while she was still working somewhere else. Okay? So as soon as she sold $1 million, she left her job and started Spanx and grew it to a multi-billion-dollar company with shapewear for men and women and all kinds of really cool fitness and exercise clothing. So let's think about that model. How did she know there was a need? You can just shout it out. She had the problem, her friends all had the problem, everyone was bothered by the problem. Her experience, she was a user entrepreneur. She didn't know the apparel industry, but she knew the product from the customer's perspective. She did find some people that helped her with apparel manufacturing. She was able to cobble together a cheap prototype and make a sale. She had a customer right off the bat, and she knew she got a finance controller to help her. She knew the numbers would work. So this is a true business opportunity. The next thing we found in almost all these stories, these entrepreneurs are really great team builders. They build a group of mentors. I call it a brain trust. They're mentors and advisors, friends, professors, church leaders, neighbors, cousins, uncles that know parts of business that agree to help them. And they're good at putting this network together. And then they slowly start building a core team of decent people that have the same vision and the same purpose. This is one of our favorite entrepreneurs from Boulder, Colorado. We've interviewed him several times. Justin Gold was a very outdoorsy guy. So he would run, he would hike, he would mountain bike. But he's a vegetarian, so he was always looking for protein. And he didn't like the sugary drinks and the gels and the bars. So he started throwing nuts in a blender, peanuts, cashews, walnuts, almonds, and making a nut butter. And he would put it in a jar and put it in his cupboard. He'd come home from his job, and his roommates every night had eaten half of his product. So they loved it. He knew they loved it. So he put the name Justin's. He put his name on the bottle, Justin's, so they would know, this is my nut butter, don't eat it. And they still ate it. So he started going to the farmers markets, and he would sell more than he could make. And before long, he thought, I have a real business opportunity here. I've proven the need. I have the product. People are eating it, and people are buying it. And now I need to turn it into a real business. So he knew he needed to find some people that knew about food manufacturing. And so what he did, he would create a target list, like he would stalk these people in the food industry. And he would find out, where they went on a morning bike ride, where they went on a hike. And he would just say, hey, I don't want to bother you, but I admire you. You're a hero of mine. Can I go on that morning hike with you? Can I go on that morning bike ride with you? Can I run with you at noon? He would say, can I bring you lunch? You have to eat. I'll buy the lunch, bring it to your office, so I'm not disturbing you or taking you time. And he built this huge network of several dozen people that helped him launch this business and grow this business to a multi-million-dollar company, Justin's Nut Butter, out of Boulder, Colorado. So I was giving a talk in Australia, and I was speaking to a group of executives. And I told him this story, and I said, even though you're still CEOs, you need to go find mentors, people that you can talk to. And a guy looked on his phone, and he Googled Justin Gold, and he said, your friend Justin just sold his business yesterday for $288 million. And I said, really? And so I checked, and he did. He sold Justin's Nut Butter to Hormel Foods for $288 million. Okay, I mentioned earlier that you don't need money to start a business, but you do need resources. You need a whole bunch of resources. Those mentors, that's a resource. You can work on a cheap desk in your garage or your basement. That's a resource. You can maybe use some of your savings, or maybe you can talk your brother or your father into giving you a little bit of money to create a prototype. But you need to be very effective in achieving that goal of creating a first product, and then you need to be very efficient in doing it with as few resources as possible. So Andy and I also spent some time here with Alan Lim, and Alan has a PhD in integrated physiology, and he served for 7 years as one of the coach and trainers for the U.S. cycling team. And one of the things that he noticed was all of his riders, they would get stomach aches from the syrupy drinks, the Gatorades and the gels and the bars, and they were always complaining. And so he said, I'm going to solve that problem. So he started making drinks with real fruit in them. Real juice, real strawberries, real oranges. And he would freeze dry them, and he'd go to a paint store and shake them up in their paint shaker, and then he'd put them in plastic baggies. So he was bringing these plastic baggies of white powder to all of the races and giving these baggies out to his riders. And he quickly realized this is kind of a problem, giving out white powder in baggies. But before long, all the riders in the Tour de France and the major world tours were asking for his product. And at one race, one year, about half of them wanted his white powders. And so again, a real business opportunity, right? He meets the 5 criteria. So he says, I'm going to turn this into a real business, but he didn't have any money. So he thought, how am I going to market this product nationally without any money? So here's the great idea. Again, remember, there's a lot of things you can do with less resources. There's always a solution to every problem. There's always a way to do something cheaper with less money. So what he did is he built a burrito cart, and he started selling burritos out of this cart at all these bike races, these triathlons, these marathons, all these fitness events. And then he would give out free samples of his new product. And so he introduced that product to the entire United States in 1 year, and he made money off his burrito cart to pay for his marketing. So at the end of that year, he now has a national brand. And when we asked him, how much did it cost? He said, I spent $800. above my revenue from the burrito car. So he created a national brand from $800. There's always a way to do things for less. The next thing is he wanted to be in the tour of California, and they said the sponsorship fee is $250,000. And then you can be, a sponsor of the tour. And obviously he has no money, so he thinks, okay, how am I going to do this? And then he knew that there is always a neutral mechanical vehicle, a van, that is neutral, that'll help any rider from any team if they have a mechanical problem. A chain breaks, a cable breaks, whatever. And so he thought, why don't we have a neutral hydration vehicle? Think about that. What a great idea. So he went back to the race organizers and he said, I will give free hydration to every rider from every team the whole week of the tour. And they said, great. And they waived the $250,000 and let him in for free. So now he had exposure to an international audience. He had 11 national, international radio and TV interviews and print interviews. And the next year he had a national brand. So again, you don't need money to start a business, but you need resources, and you need to be really innovative and creative, and always say to yourself, how can I produce this same result with less money? Okay, the next thing that is really popular right now is building a community of customers. You got to build a community of people that love you, that love your brand, that love your products, that are very loyal to you. And these are 4 levels of customer service that we've seen in all of our interviews. That blue triangle is the customer pyramid, okay? Think of that as customers. Level 1 is tolerate your customers. I actually had a manager of a store say, this would be a great place to work if it weren't for customers, okay? So think of the DMV, right? What other organizations could care less? They have you as a captive audience. You're not going to get much of the customer service pyramid that way. The next one, everyone's trying to meet customer expectations. What do customers want? Let's make sure we meet their expectations. And everybody does this. The problem is satisfied customers are not loyal customers. They will shop at your competitor's business next week. So if they come out of your store and say, yeah, I'm satisfied, they're not going to be loyal to you. To create loyalty, you have to exceed their expectations. So you have to give them more than what they thought they were going to get when they came into your business. And this is really a pretty easy thing to do. This is what our consulting firm does. We interview a whole bunch of customers and we say, if you were to go to that business and you're going to walk out and you're raving about those guys, you say, they're the best. No one's that good. I love that company. What would they have to do? And then we get a list from the customers, and then we restructure that company, that service system, to exceed expectations with every single customer. One of the women that we worked with has a cleaning company. She was on welfare. Her husband left her with 4 kids. She's on welfare. She can't stand being on welfare, so she starts a home cleaning service. And at the end of the first year, she had 85 residential customers and 30 commercial customers. Multi-million-dollar business. And I said to her, I said, how in the world have you done this so fast? And she said, I go in, I make a bid, I give them a good price, then I say, one thing that we do that is unique is every time we come, if you will leave a list of several things you want cleaned for free, we will clean them for free. So it can be chandeliers, it can be level or blinds, and people are raving about her, and she built a very successful company. The ultimate step, though, is to engage customers in your actual business. In this business that we created, we had customers as partner groups all around the country, and they helped us create our products. We would sample all of our products with these customers and say, what do you like? What do you don't like? Is it too sweet? Do you like the chocolate flavor? And unless we got 70% of the vote, we would never go to production. So our customers basically created our products for us. We also had them help us create our store designs and our logo. They were their business. Our business was their business. And that's the highest level of service required to create a community. So here's Andy and I on the left with 2 of our seed students in the Philippines. This is Lilia Pascual. Lilia owns one of the most successful lumber yards in Manila. I call her the lumber queen of Manila. And when you drive to her business, you pass several other lumber shops. And so the first time I met Lily, I said, Lily, why are you so successful? Why are you doing so well? And she said, everyone likes me more than the other people. I said, okay, I guess that's a good reason. But why do they like you more? And she said, number one, I will source whatever wood they want. Bamboo, coconut, used plywood, I'll go find whatever wood they want. Number two, I cut it for free. Everyone else charges a small fee to cut it to specs. And she said, number three, I deliver it for free. She also has a tricycle transportation business, and she delivers it for free, and she delivers it with cookies and cakes and special gifts for all of her customers. So simple things like that, and she's able to dominate the lumber industry in her region. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. What we're going to encourage you to do in this class is to think of yourself as me, Inc., or me, LLC. I am my own provider. I am my own moneymaker. I might have a job, but I'm not going to rely on a corporation to take care of me during my life. I'm not going to rely on the government to take care of me. I am my own entity, and I have to figure out some streams of revenue. And these successful entrepreneurs have multiple streams of revenue. They develop several products, they develop several investments or several businesses, so they're not at risk. And the ultimate business is when you create a full solution for your customer through the product, your product line. So let's say that I have a problem. I need 3 products to solve my problem. I go to business 1 to get the first product, business 2, business 3. If someone can provide all 3 of those to me, then I'm solving my problem with one stop. And that's what these successful entrepreneurs do. So these are 2 amazing engineers. They both got engineering degrees in the Midwest and then moved to California, to Los Angeles, and they both got jobs with engineering firms. Benny, the first day, he said, I want to be a good employee, so I'm going to leave 2 hours early because I don't know how unpredictable the traffic is in LA. So he left 2 hours early to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he got there at 8:15. It took 2 hours and 15 minutes. And before long, they grew weary of the traffic. They hated the smog. They hated the crime. So they said, we're going to get out of here. We're moving to Sisters, Oregon, which is a town of 2,000 people. A beautiful, beautiful artsy town. When they got there, they had no jobs. So they said, we both know how to design biomass power plants. Let's start finding some clients and designing these power plants. So they got a handful of clients and started designing these plants. That's product number 1. They quickly realized that these people had a hard time building these plants. They had some unique nuances to a biogas plant. So they started a construction division to now build the plants that they designed. So the first product, they designed the plant. Second product, they built the plant. They then realized that the customer had to go and shop for some software to monitor the output. So they said, let's create the software. So they built a suite of software to monitor the power plants that they designed and then they built. They were flying in and out of Sisters so often that the next stream of revenue was they bought the airport. So they now own the airport. Then other entrepreneurs started moving to Sisters, so they built some buildings to house other entrepreneurs, like an incubator space at the airport, so they can live in their space and fly on their planes at their airport. So 5 sources of revenue that are all related. They will solve your complete problem with a suite of products. Okay, this was one of the most exciting things. Nearly all of these entrepreneurs, these new age entrepreneurs that are smaller business owners, do things that are really cool for their communities. And the thinking goes like this. They go, I never thought we would be this successful. Our customers got us here. We love this town. Let's do something cool for this town. Let's just not make money for ourselves. Let's do something for this town. So they were doing all kinds of cool things, teaching in schools, mentoring students, donating to, various health funds, all kinds of cool things. And this was a really fascinating company that I've been to this company now twice. They're in Grangeville, Idaho. This is the son and the mom. And they moved to Grangeville because the mom wanted to raise her kids in a small town in Idaho. And they had driven through Idaho and they loved it. So they get there and they go, now what are we going to do? How are we going to make a living? Well, she used to sew truck covers for the seats of trucks for truckers. And so she knew how to sew. She knew how to sew leather and various vinyls. And she went to a couple ski resorts and said, your chairs are getting pretty old. Let me recover your chairs on your chairlift. And she got her first contract at Sun Valley. And she redid all of the seat covers. And today, they now service about 600 ski resorts worldwide. They build the seat covers. That was their first product. Skiing is kind of seasonal. So there were times when they had to lay their employees off. They only had 20 hours of work a week for them on the off seasons. And they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to lay off these employees. They loved their employees. They existed to give their employees a great life. That was one of their purposes. And so what they did is they said, we'll pay you for 40 hours a week during the off season. You need to come work for us 20 hours a week. And then we're going to go serve the community 20 hours a week, and we're going to pay you. So they all got together in the conference room. They put projects on the board. We're going to paint houses. We're going to mow lawns. We're going to trim trees. We're going to mentor students. We're going to deliver meals to the elderly. And they created a list of priorities. And during their 20 hours a week where they were not working for the ski company, they were out serving in their community. And they actually won an award from the governor, but they kept all those employees working, and it was one of the coolest things we've ever seen. So following the previous practice of pivoting to multiple revenue streams, they said, there are other people that need padding, and they went to high schools, and then they went to the military, and then they went to police forces. Now they make padded products for about 4 or 5 different industries, so they have multiple streams of revenue. Okay, so this class lasts from 6 to 7:30. Let me just tell you a couple things about our center. We have created a remarkable minor in entrepreneurship that is available to every student from every major. We've had about 125 different majors take classes from us. So it attaches to an engineering degree, it attaches to a music degree, it attaches to an arts degree, a psychology degree, a landscape architecture degree. And we use all these stories we've collected to teach you how to actually build a business. You build a small business while you're taking these classes. And 53% of our students in our classes now are non-business majors. So you have a really diverse group of friends that serve as your board of advisors as you're learning how to build a small business or a product or service and take care of yourself. Yes, sorry. It's now MSLE, not management, MSLE. It's the new marketing and strategy department. And so to conclude, I want to
So all the black cattle are registered Black Angus. You'll notice that there's 5 white calves out here. That breed is called Charolais.
Seth Christensen, I own Christensen Genetics.
I'm Tyler Tolson, I'm the CEO and founder of Danique.
My name is Kylie Champlin, I'm co-founder of Ruli.
Chad Champlin, co-founder of Ruli.
My name is Marissa Barlow, I'm the co-founder of Nani Swimwear.
I'm Danny Knoll, I'm the founder, inventor, and owner of Infuse Hydration.
Kyle Ivins, co-founder of Monumetric.
My name is Nathan Putnam, enrolled at Utah State and did an MBA with an emphasis in entrepreneurship.
I can honestly say that this business would not exist without the resources, the classes, and the clubs that I went through at the university.
The entrepreneurship programs at Utah State played a huge role in getting our company off the ground.
I've taken the entrepreneurship classes.
I was introduced into the New Venture Creation course that was just so fantastically developed.
My experience has honestly been life-changing.
I participated in the Huntsman Scholar program, the Entrepreneurship Club, the Entrepreneurship minor classes. I met both of my partners by being in the Entrepreneurship program.
Also was part of the consulting groups.
We got to consult with real businesses. Really enjoyed the lecture series.
The lecture series
blew my mind.
I still remember Becky Anderson talking about reading 1 hour per day about your industry. And we take that to heart.
Been involved with competitions.
We won $20,000.
It really piqued my interest that, hey, maybe this is something that I could do.
This was my first purchase. When we started doing our custom notebooks, we went to a trade show, and it had Vans and Nike skateboarding and Billabong and Obey and all these big lifestyle action sports brands. And we started doing custom notebooks for all of them.
Finished product comes from there. Bottles come on this side. I 100% could not have started Infuse without the foundational training, the mentorship, the network that I was able to gain through the Entrepreneurship Center.
You know, the Entrepreneurship Center really made it a reality.
The Entrepreneurship Center has really helped me with finding mentors, funding, and just really connections.
I don't think there's a month that goes by, even now, that I don't reconnect with someone from that time period.
Those relationships still continue to this day.
When I look back on it, that business plan that we were trying to see if it was going to work has gone from an idea to a 10,000 square foot, 3-product reality.
I was walking through the Huntsman School and saw the logo, Dare Mighty Things. And that's kind of what convinced me to even put my name in the hat. And, you know, the courses really helped focus, you know, my interest and help me believe that I could, you know, dare mighty things and try something new.
I hate to think of where I would be without the entrepreneurship programs at Utah State.
Wouldn't be where we're at today.
Man, it definitely played a massive influence in why I'm here. You know, started it as a student at Utah State. We've been doing it for 8 years now, and now we're up to about 15 employees.
We're just over 30, and we employ another 12 overseas.
We now have a team of just over 150 people.
We've grown on average 47.9% month over month.
We have customers like Nike, Disney, Nickelodeon, LinkedIn, Google.
We've grown to being in over 100 stores around the world.
Barnes & Noble, Michaels, Staples, Office Depot, Hobby Lobby.
REI, Anthropologie, we're in Macy's now.
So we currently work with close to 1,500 publishers.
We raised $1.8 million. The last $800,000 we've raised at a $10 million valuation.
We monetize over 1 billion ad impressions a month.
But I mean, we went into 7 figures of gross sales within a year of coming out of college.
We're able to reach, you know, hundreds of customers and ship thousands of packages a day.
I'm just amazed at where we are and where we started.
We love doing business out of our hometown. You know, our flagship store's here in Logan. We're building a company headquarters in Smithfield, which is where Kylie and I were both born and raised. For us to be able to have a business that reaches the world, but we're able to do it out of our hometown here in Cache Valley.
I think no matter what major you are, getting involved in the Entrepreneurship Center helps you become a better leader.
They teach you life skills.
My major was communication studies.
I studied graphic design,
exercise science, and PE.
I'm majoring in economics and music.
Communication study.
I'm studying finance.
And I'm a marketing major.
I was a crop science major. I had absolutely no acumen in business. I was given tools, I was shown opportunity. It's changed everything for me.
It helped me see that entrepreneurship is a reality, and that's what I'm doing today. That's how my wife and 3 kids eat. That's how all the team members, that's how they're able to feed their families. And it was because I was able to see in the Entrepreneurship Center that you can start a business.
I would say absolutely do it. Do it now. There's never a better time in your life.
Life-changing.
Absolutely.
It'll be something that I can apply for the rest of my life. You're never gonna have better access to people that have been around the farm for longer or have more knowledge accumulated in their lifetimes than you are right now. And that's all available to you by virtue of just being a student at Utah State.
I honestly do believe that had it not been for SEED and the entrepreneurship program, I don't know if I'd be here today. And I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, so it's great having you in the class. We are here for you. We'll help, we'll mentor, we'll answer your emails. You can call me on the phone.
In the late 90s, the West Side.
And we want you to have a great experience in this class. Let me just say one more time that the skills of entrepreneurship are problem solving, innovation, and value creation. And whether you work for a corporation or you start your own business, you're going to be able to use these skills. And you might start a business out of passion and purpose because you really want to, but you might have to start a business. You might do it out of necessity at some point. And so we're going to try to help you understand these skills so you realize it's not that scary. Okay? I have engineers come to see me, and they're fabulous students, and they say, I don't know anything about business. I don't think I could start a company. And I say, it's a lot easier for us to teach you about entrepreneurship than it is for you to learn about engineering. So no matter what your major is, bring that skill set, and we serve the entire university. We're in the Huntsman School, but we serve the entire university, all right? So let's just we have some time left. Take the brochure that you have, and let's talk a little bit about the class. So we have 10 fabulous nights planned, and next week is the first, we have, for the first time, Ashley Smith. Ryan and Ashley own the Utah Jazz, but we've asked her to come and talk about her dance business, her dance company, and we think Ryan might be with her, so you'll be able to see the owners of the Utah Jazz. And they speak for about 45 minutes, and then they answer questions for 15 to 20 minutes. So, come prepared to ask questions that would be meaningful to you. Next is Russell Davies, who is an expert at helping veterans get over PTSD through outdoor recreation. I think you're going to really like him. And 3 nights this semester, we're going to feed you dinner, okay? So you're going to come early, and we're going to feed you dinner, the whole class. And that night, we're going to have free pancakes from Stacked Pancakes for you, okay? So make a note of that. Arshay Cooper is our heavy-duty keynote speaker flying in from New York. He's going to screen his movie, A Most Beautiful Thing, and then he's going to talk to us. This is the only lecture that's on Thursday night. It's on September 30th. So that's the night that we could get him here. And it's going to be in the TSC. So keep that in mind, and it's open to anyone that you want to invite. Bring friends. We want to fill the place up. And he's an absolutely amazing guy. I've been speaking with him a lot on the phone and through Zoom. And he grew up around 5 different gangs as a young man, and he never joined any of those gangs. He never used drugs, never used alcohol, and he escaped and has become a very successful entrepreneur. Yes? Question? It's 6 o'clock in the TSC. We start off with his movie, A Most Beautiful Thing, and then he speaks to us afterwards, okay? So he's one of the more amazing guys that we've had come to campus. Martin Fry is the first person in the world to climb all 7 summits on all 7 continents and sail all 7 seas in a sailboat. He's also a very successful tech entrepreneur. David DeRocher was one of the very favorite speakers we've ever had here. He spent 20 years in prison in California and rehabilitated himself at an amazing place called Delancey Street, and then came to Salt Lake and created the Other Side Academy, where he helps convicted felons become decent people. And he's one of the best speakers we've ever had come here. And he has 140 convicts at his facility in Salt Lake that they've let out early, and those 140 convicts owe the state of Utah 650 years of prison time. So he's going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a complete jerk and then become a decent guy. And you're going to really love this guy. We're also feeding you the night of Martin Fry. We're going to feed you again. And where's that meal coming from, Andy? Morty's. We're going to do hamburgers at Morty's for all of you in the class. That's on October 6th. Okay? We're going to feed you again pizza on October 20th when Dan Clark is here. Okay, so those of you in the class get to come and eat dinner with us. Dan Clark's one of the top, he's been billed as one of the top 10 public speakers in the world. He does about 10 speeches around the world every month. He does over 100 a year. He's the main speaker, motivational speaker for all 4 branches of the military. And he's agreed to come back and speak at a dramatically reduced rate. As my friend, he does it for free, so he waives his $20,000 fee. Amy Anderson, you've maybe met. She's loved by all the former students. She was a single mom who built a company she sold for $377 million. Crystal Maglet, you know probably, is the CEO of FJ Management. They own a number of oil and gas businesses, including Maverick stores, convenience stores. And then Tyler Tolson is one of our more successful student entrepreneurs. Now, the last night is our Shark Tank night. And so we're going to have four of you, if you want, if your business is ready, you can pitch to us, and we select 4 student companies to pitch to these judges, and we have cash awards that we give out. So it's an actual Shark Tank night where the judges are on the stand and the students make presentations. And all of these judges have gone through our program, okay? They now own successful companies. Leslie and Justin Haskell. Justin was one of my MBA students. You saw Nathan and Kyle and Marissa in the film. They've created very successful companies as well. So that's the agenda. To get credit for this class, you need to show up, and each week we're going to hand out a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper you have to list your name and your A number, and then you have to write down 5 things you learned from each speaker. And then when you leave, you put it in the box, and then you get credit for attending, okay? So you have to come. There's only 10 sessions to get credit. Now, I will excuse you from one of those sessions if you have a problem. So you have to attend 9 to get full credit for the class. But in the past, students have just said, oh, I don't feel like coming, I'm tired, and they don't come, and then they get sick and can't make another one, and then they don't pass the class. So what I like to do is, if you have a problem, if you have a family emergency, or if you're sick, you can't make it, you email me, and I can excuse you from one of these classes, okay? So you need to plan on coming to 10. If you have an emergency need to miss one, you can still pass the class with 9. You have to be here by 6. We pass out those forms up until 6:05, and then if you come late, you don't get counted as being here. And you have to stay till the very end, till we dismiss you. A lot of students come in the past, they take the form, they stay 10 minutes, write 5 things, and leave. You have to stay the whole time to get credit, okay? So you have to come on time, you have to leave on time. You come 10 times, you have phenomenal speakers, it's a great experience. It's not hard to do, but those are the course requirements, okay? Those of you watching online from the regional campuses, you can hear me, you submit your papers online through the class assignment, okay? Okay, so any questions about anything? Anything I talked about or about the class? Yes? We're going to ask you to be, we're going to start serving at 4:30. You need to come by 5 o'clock. We're going to serve up until about 5:45. Okay, that's an important question. Thanks. Okay, what else? Anything else? Okay, the other thing, we normally have about 300 students in the auditorium, but with COVID, we have about 130 of you, so you can spread out a little bit. But you're welcome to bring friends with you. We would like to go ahead and fill these seats up. So if you look at that schedule, if you have a friend or a family member, they don't have to be students. You can bring people with you to these lectures. And when Arshay Cooper is here on September 30th, we especially want to fill up the TSC. So invite your friends. Plan on being here. It'll be a night you will remember for a long time, okay? So we have a couple announcements we want to make, and then we'll leave a little bit early today. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, Andy's going to show us a quick video of Arshay Cooper here. Sorry, I forgot.
In the late 90s, the west side of Chicago was not a good place to grow up.
It was like a war zone. Some people ask what college you're gonna go to when you grow up. In that neighborhood, the big question was what gang you're gonna join.
A kid got shot in front of Manley. Killed him dead right on the curb. It kind of makes you lose hope for your community.
How do you break out of that? But a chance encounter changed everything.
I walked inside the lunchroom and I see this boat.
I didn't even know what rowing was.
We don't even swim.
You gonna take some West Side kids over to the lake? Nah, that's not gonna work.
It brought guys from different neighborhoods, from rival gangs, together in one boat.
When it's calm and you out there, it take your mind away from any problems that you have. It brightened my life.
There was something about the water that gave us peace, and we all needed that.
Now, 20 years later, they're back on the water.
What are we training for here?
Chicago Sprints.
We're trying to rewrite history here.
Training starts today, Arshay. Malcolm's doing this to show his son another way. Preston's going back in time to undo his mistakes. Alvin's racing to celebrate the fact he's still alive, that he's still here.
Now you get an opportunity to inspire another generation. What are you going to do with it? We on the mission now.
It's going to be a remarkable moment when they come together and get to that starting line again.
Brothers encouraging brothers. That needs to spread like wildfire through our communities.
What he's doing is a beautiful thing.
When that flag comes down, there's only one truth, that they are still here.
Manly, go!
Okay, so that's the movie we're going to screen, Arshay's movie, when he's here, and he's very excited to come. He's never been out this way. He was raised in Chicago. He now lives in New York. So keep that in mind, okay? September 30th, Thursday night in the TSC. Okay, did you have an announcement? Okay, Cassie's going to give us an announcement.
Okay, my name is Cassie, and this is Mikey, and we are the co-presidents for Entrepreneurship Club, and I'm just going to tell you our first opening social is on Monday. It's from 5 to 6. It's in front of Huntsman Hall. There will also be free stacked pancakes there. And it's just a good way to come learn all about the Entrepreneurship Center and to meet new people and to pretty much hear what we have to offer.
For sure. And then across the rest of the semester, we're going to have some more events. This ELS class is great and a great introduction to what we do with the club. There's many pitch competitions throughout the next couple of months where you can win money if you got a business idea and want to pitch it. Other than that, we have a charity gala that we're going to be hosting. We'll have lots of different activities there, and we'll be asking for donations to help fund some different projects that we have with different charities for Christmas and things like that. And then on top of that, if you'd like to come and just learn more about the different programs like SEED, the entrepreneurship minor, things like that, we're more than happy to help out and help you get involved. So that's what we got.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're through for tonight. One last comment is that students can add this class for one more week up until next Wednesday before Ashley Smith comes. So if you have any friends that want to add or anyone that needs 1 hour of credit, it's really easy to do. All you have to do is see one of us or go see your advisor and say, I want to add the class, and then they send me an email, and I just click accept, and you're in the class. It's that simple, okay?